All right, today we're going to break down a technique that's, well, it's not just an upgrade. It's a totally fundamental shift in how AI understands massive amounts of data. It's called GraphRAG, and it lets AI answer these huge, big-picture questions that, honestly, were pretty much impossible until now. Okay, so imagine this. You've got thousands of documents. They could be reports, articles, emails, you name it. And you're not looking for one tiny specific fact. No, you want to ask a really big global question, like this one. You're basically asking the AI to look at everything, connect all the dots, and give you the 30,000-foot view of the entire collection, what the pros call a corpus.
Now this kind of question, this is exactly where most AI assistants just hit a brick wall. The traditional methods, like standard retrieval augmented generation or RAG, they're great at finding specific little answers in specific documents. But asking a global question, the source material is super clear on this. Standard RAG just fails. It wasn't built to pull everything together and synthesize an entire data set.
So, to get around this problem, we have to completely change how the AI sees the information. Instead of just reading lines of text one after another, it needs to think in terms of a network, like a giant interconnected map of ideas. And this map, it's built from a few really simple but incredibly powerful pieces.
Okay, the first building block is something called a node. And it's super simple. A node is just a single thing or concept. It could be a person, a company, a place, a movie, whatever. If you want to think about it in grammar terms, it's basically just a noun. It's the who or the what.
But nodes by themselves are just dots on a page. They're not connected to anything. That's where relationships come in. A relationship is the line that connects the dots. It's the action, the verb, that ties two nodes together. So, for example, a person node could have a watched relationship with a movie node. See? Simple.
And finally, to give everything some color and context, we have properties. Think of these as the details, the specific attributes, the adjectives. So for our person node, the properties might be a name, like Alice, and an age, like 30. This is the data that really flushes things out and makes each node unique.
So there you have it. We've got our nouns, our verbs, and our adjectives. Now let's see what happens when we put them all together to build something really powerful, a complete map of all the knowledge hidden in our documents.
When you take all of those nodes, all of their relationships, and all their properties, and you link them all up, you get what's called a knowledge graph. And this is a huge deal. It's not just a pile of documents anymore. It's a structured, interconnected web of pure information.
And what's really amazing about this is that this whole process is automatic. You just feed the LLM all your source documents, and it reads through everything, picking out the key entities, the people, places, things, and turns them into nodes. Then it figures out how they're all connected and creates the relationships. And boom, just like that, it builds this entire beautiful knowledge graph right from that messy, unstructured text.
This analogy right here, it perfectly sums up the difference. Using standard RAG is like asking your GPS for a specific street address. It's awesome at finding that one specific thing. But using GraphRAG, that's like asking the GPS to describe the city's main districts. Where's the financial district, the theater district, the cool residential areas? It understands the whole structure and can actually summarize the big picture for you.
All right, so we've built this incredibly powerful knowledge map. But how does that actually help us answer that big global question we started with? Well, this is where it all comes together.
The folks who developed this technique put it perfectly. They said, the goal here isn't just to find a single fact. That's just retrieval. The real goal is to create a summary of the entire data set that's custom-built to answer the user's question.
And that leads us to this really crucial concept, query-focused summarization, or QFS. Honestly, this is the superpower of GraphRAG. It doesn't just grab a snippet of text. It analyzes the structure of the entire graph to generate a totally new, comprehensive summary that's aimed squarely at your question.
And with that superpower, we can finally answer our original question, what are the main themes? See, by looking at the knowledge graph, the AI can spot what are called communities. These are just groups of nodes that are way more connected to each other than to everything else. Think of them like little informational neighborhoods. And these clusters, they are the major themes and topics running through the whole collection. It allows the AI to give a genuinely insightful, high-level answer. Okay. But like any powerful tool, GraphRAG isn't a magic wand for every single problem. It's perfect for some jobs and not so great for others. So let's wrap this up by looking at where it really shines and where it, might struggle a bit. GraphRAG is an absolute beast when your data is just packed with connections. Think about social media analysis. You've got this huge web of users, followers, posts, likes. It's perfect. Or in finance, where you're trying to track all the complicated relationships between company directors, different corporations, and market events. Basically, if your data looks like a network of highly linked up stuff, GraphRAG is going to be a fantastic tool for the job.
On the flip side, though, it's not the best tool for what you'd call flat data. The source material points out that trying to use it on something like a novel or just a simple text file where the relationships aren't obvious, it's really not the ideal use case. And it can also run into challenges at extreme scales. When a knowledge graph gets absolutely enormous and is growing super fast, just managing it can become a major headache. So there you have it. That's GraphRAG. It's this incredible way for AI to move beyond just fetching facts and to start truly understanding the big picture. It's a huge shift from simple information retrieval to genuine knowledge synthesis. And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. If AI can now see all the hidden structures and all the subtle connections in our data, what are the next questions we should be asking? What new things can we finally discover?